Alright, I have a Generac suitcase generator. Needs a starter rope. So suitcases, all the inverters are going to this style. They're nice, they're convenient, but they're a pain because everything is encapsulated. That's just how these work. This one actually is not quite as bad as the Honda as far as doing a starter rope, but step one, we need to split the case. So got everything I need. Really all I should need for this, 10mm and a Phillips screwdriver, something to put bolts in. Bedpan's always the best choice. So here we go. It's got we got a few bolts on the sides, but the ends are also usually got some plastic pieces that hold it all together. So these also have to come off. And go. Usually goes a little faster if you're not trying to point at a camera. I'll get that figured out soon enough. Testing out brand new camera. We'll see how this little guy works. It's a cheap $30 GoPro knockoff. Okay. Plastic comes off, and we can see a muffler and some generator. Cool. Now I'll flip her around. We got the same thing here. This is also alright, just trying to get used to the new camera. Try to get that pointed back there. There we go. So now the front side, same thing, will have 4 screws, but these usually also have something that stops you from pulling it out. Screw is oddly long. Alright. Alarm going off on my phone. Oh. So 4 of these. Looks like maybe there's 2 on bottom, then we'll see if this pulls off or not. I don't think it will. There we go. Actually, looks like those bottom 2 I probably didn't have to pull off. I think those just held on the panel onto the plastic housing, but it's the plastic housing that's in the way. I'm going to tip this up. Get a screwdriver in there. Come on. Now, if you ever do a Honda, the screws on those, on the cases, some of those are the hardest screws to ever get off. I've had a lot of problems with those, usually the side screws. This one, let's see here. Does it feel like a... It does. Alright, there we go. Yep, that is screw down in it. So now this whole thing should pull out of the way. We'll see most of the inverter there. I could unplug this, but I don't really have to. So now we go to the side. So let's turn this way. So now we got the side screws. Whoa. What I was saying about the Hondas, this is the problem with those, is some of these screws are so tight. Oh, there it goes. That they don't want to break loose. Alright. So we have one there. Have one right. Do we have one there? There we go. Top 2 are off. It looks like this has screws going both ways, so there's also screws on the back side of the handle here here. Alright, now we've got to tip it and get the screws out. Right there, and one left. Right there. Now the bottom looks like that's all just 10 millimeters. So we're just going to loosen all those up. So like that. Two and three. Now I see there's also some side screws here, but I think that's just going to give us access to the side of the engine that I don't need. Starter's on the other side, so let's see what happens here. I still feel resistance, and this is one of the things, oh, I missed a screw up front too. When you feel resistance, you have to stop. That is how you break plastic, and you don't want to break, especially Generac. Their parts are so freaking expensive. I'm a dealer for them, and I can tell you an inverter that goes in one of these costs more than they sell the entire generator for. And something like these plastic shells, I forget what they list them at. I wouldn't be surprised if they were $100 a side, and their prices can be ridiculous. They're not a company like most that's wants to make any money on parts. They don't want the parts business. They just price stuff so high that you don't do it. So, alright, I got that side off. Oh, actually I probably didn't need to take off the 10 millimeters there, but I do on this side. They are not like the Hondas. On Hondas, there's giant bolts that just go all the way through. These have a set of bolts on each side. Where did I set my gear ratchet there? There we go. So we're just going to spin that off, like so. Like so. And like so. Alright. Oh. Well, that was unexpected. So if I hold up here on camera, there we go. I can see. So under here, there's a little clip. Just an E-clip that holds the plastic case together. Back down you go. Drink a coffee. So that we will pry out of here. There we are. Throw that in there. Now, hey, that's off. And that should be the side I need. So there's our starter. So if we take a look at this, right there, that's buried. What a pain in the ass this one is. So now we just got to figure out, we need to get this out of the generator. I think either we take out the inverter, or if I take out the tank, let's find out. I've actually, well, I've done a number of Hondas. I don't think I've ever had to replace a rope on one of these Generacs before. Let's see, what do we got? Those are just in-2 mounts. It should pop up. A little force, there it goes. And there's a mount there with a hose. Now, tank's up. Hey. Now, almost. I think I'm going to have to take off the other side. So at this point, I'm up here. Alright. I can see So this one's easy. I got one bolt here. There's one here I could get to, and then there's going to be one buried. So that bolt, that's going to be my problem child. Let's see. I think what we're going to need to do is spin around you. Right there. Oh. I'll see the problem. This black cover on the back side of the generator is what I'm going to need to take off, and then that should give me access to the inside. So, this is normal if you do these inverters. You just got to know you're going to take apart a lot of crap in order to do very little. That's just the name of the game with these. They're annoying. Let's take that off. So what I'm trying to do now is see what I need to do to get this to come loose. And let's see. There and there. Aha! There's screws right under this cover. This cover is just not cooperating. I wonder what. You gotta be super careful when you pry, because this is how you break stuff. There it goes. Got some clips holding it in. Now, on this side, it looks like I'm screwed in here. Holy buckets. Easier to take out the engine. Well, let's see. That looks like an 8mm. So let's change this out. There we go. Alright. Ta-da! Hey look, a generator in a slightly somewhat more accessible location. Well, it looks like to me the answer to this is simply going to be unbolting the inverter. So what we're going to do is, this tank's annoying me. Let's take this tank off. Come here, tank. Alright, tank is off. Flip it up so it doesn't leak. There we go. More coffee. Whew! Had some gas on my hand with that swig of coffee. Oh well. So let's see. Now we're going to flip this on the side. Like so. Carburetor's up. That's good. Hey! You said you lost the handle. It just fell out of the inside. Very cool. Now I can put on the right handle instead of the weed eater handle I had here. Alright, it looks like underneath here I have 4 bolts. If I take off these 4 bolts, this inverter should come out. Inverters are one of those natural or magical things that we don't quite understand exactly how they work. They're those magic boxes. They send in power, usually comes in and it converts back and forth between AC and DC, and through this process you get super clean voltage. But they're also one of those things we can't really work on. And like I said, for this I think they want like $800 for the inverter. Had someone asking me for one the other day, and I'm like, nope, nothing you can do there. So unbolt there. I got a ground on the side. That ain't gonna fly. And reach behind me here. Grab an 8mm. I need more force. There it goes. Get that broke free. Now that's gonna work. Okay. Ground. Always got to put back grounds. Things like inverters will fry without them. Alright. What a pain in the butt you are. Alright, I'm going to see if we can now... Okay. So I got some line. Set this down here. Point it back out there. So with line, always, you want to burn it. Keep the ends from fraying. And if you grab a rag, pull it across, it'll make kind of a point. And that point will make your life a whole lot easier when you need to stuff it through the holes. So this one's already wound. We're just going to come in, so it'll be easier this way. Come through one hole. Make it turn a corner, get in there. And pull it through. Now, gotta tie off the back side. Single knot on the back side is fine. Pull it through. Now we got his handle. There it goes. I see they tried to tape it and then the whole thing snapped back in. So we'll cut off that abomination, pull out the old rope, send this through. There we go. Now on the handle side, you never want a single knot. Always, always put a double knot, because otherwise that will pull through. And you really don't want to do this again. I mean, this is an hour-long job that I get a charge for, which for a rope is a little ridiculous, but it is what it is. So there it is. Now that that's on there, all I should have to do is pull that out, and this is going to, well, no it's not. Okay, so it didn't snap all the way back in. This wasn't wound enough, so not a big deal. So directions the dogs point are as the directions we are going to wind. So we'll pull out our spring, or a string, put it in that little hole, and we're going to wind the same direction those dogs point. Alright, then pull it through, let it suck back in. That's better. Oop, but I screwed up, that's okay. Because this handle, I'm going to have to take this handle back off actually. I'm going to pop this off now while I can. Because this handle has to go through the side wall of the generator. So, oops. Alright, I shot off, but that's okay. We will deal with that. We're first going to put it on anyway. So let's get this sucker down in here, just like so. Right there. And that comes out. Ugh. Yep. Yeah, there's better ways to do this, but the more we work on stuff, the less engineers think about what happens when it needs to be fixed. And then we drop stuff. Alright. Move the bedpan out of the way. Actually, let me look at this. Oh, it is actually so. Will need to be just like so. Yep. I'll get one of them started. Jesus, these things are a pain in the ass. Come on, get in the hole. Get in the hole. So normally, starter rope on most generators, 5-10 minute job. That is not the case here. There we go. Got one started. Now, fine. There we go. It's the longer ones. That one we're going to put in the top. Yeah. Alright, this is where you start swearing. Alright, stop for coffee. Oh, come on. This new little camera is weird. Has one little red light that's on, and now it's blinky. I'm not sure what the hell does blinky light mean. Let's take a look at this thing. Can't really tell what's still, says you're still recording. Okay, cool. Back you go. Back you go. Alright. So we're trying to line up. Once we got 2 holes lined up, the third will be lined up. There we go. So with 2 in, I can actually tighten that all the way down. The top one, kind of at a funny angle there. Stuff out. Now I can put the generator back upright. Now we got access to that one. And there's the last bolt. And you are on the side. Alright. Now the generator should swing all the way out of the way. There we go. Looks like one thing came unclipped. Yeah, that's not a good sign. I know they waited to bring this to me for a while, but I see gas leaking here. And it's yellow. So when this is all said and done, we'll see if it actually still runs. So now anything that unclipped like this needs to go back where it belongs, which is right there. Alright. Got that. Now if I grab right here, I just want to line this up. Balls. So this is where you're going to see someone make a mistake. It should come out over here. Alright. So I'm going to spin that back off. 1, 2, get to number 3. Alright, I was wondering, it was looking like this was pulling right next to across the fuel line. Wouldn't be right, so let's just reclock this, turn it, point it so it goes out there, which is going to be there. Alright, now we're going to do this one more time. Yeah, here it's raining outside, cool. Sweet. Alright. One in. Now flip you back and grab that bottom sucker again. Looks like that same bolt popped out yet again. So that same connector to the inverter. So gotta make that sure that gets back in there. Otherwise, we are not going to make power. Alright. Number 2, I want to tighten that one all the way. Only place I can get to it. Tighten that one. Tighten the top one. Flip it back up. Swing this bastard over. Okay. And we got 3. Right there. There we go. Okay. Now, if I do anything right, I should have a generator. Hey, I can pull it over. Sweet. So now, I said this piece keeps popping out, so I need to plug that back in, right into the back of the inverter. There you go. Now, this sits down right here. And then we got these that are going to come through. So, yet again, we're going to flip this up. There we go. And we are going to drop some bolts. That's what we're going to do. Drop some bolts. Hey, there's the other one. Let's get this started here. There we are. One started. Never want to tighten the first one, because with 2, everything else should be lined up. With 1, the whole thing can swing sideways, which it's doing. There we go. 2 volts. So tighten. Tighten. Now we come to the bottom. And 1. Get back in there. Let's see. Something's not lined up right. Oh, there it is. It's just a little to the side. And there we go. And 1 right here. Oh, or there. Okay, inverter's reattached, but we took off a ground. That is a fairly important thing. We want our ground. And that grounds the inverter to the block. Okay, tipped up. There we go. Everything's back in. Now, I said there was yellow fuel, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to drain this carburetor while it's accessible, because, Jesus Christ. Well, I think I'm going to drain this carburetor. Yeah, you know, one way or another. Balls. There it goes. So let's open that up. Leak some fuel all over the table. There we go. So, one less thing to do later. Now, now I should be able to, that comes over this way. Aha. Well, I saw some pieces falling out. Now I know what those pieces are. Aha. These little suckers. They drop right down in there what the 10mm bolts go into. Now, how many did I drop? Ah, 3. Wonderful. 1, 2, 3. So these are going to fall out. And they, let's come here, camera. They go right in these slots. 1, 2, and 3. That's what our bolts are going to go into. So, looks like I only have the set on the one side, and the other side's, interesting. Very interesting. Nope, they're on that side too, and they've also fallen off. So, not just fallen off, they slid underneath. Isn't that nice? There's one. What am I missing? Still one? Wonderful. That's what we like. So if I look underneath here, I'm going to find one more. It's okay. I'm going to do one side so this is partially back together. So the non-starter side is here. And I have tucked my ground wire back down. There's the drain hose. Should stick out. But we don't want the bolt to go through it either. And then we come here. Alright. So let's tip this up. So as you can see, this is one of those things that other things you get complaints on. Why do you charge so much to change a starter rope? Well, some of these things are just not accessible. And the amount of stuff that you can screw up while doing this, you miss one little connection, whatever, your generator's not going to work. So, that's what we got to do. And 3. There we are. Okay. Two and 3. There we are. Starting to look like a generator. Now let's see. I think that's there, that's there. Ooh, don't push there. And here, and here, and here. Boom, boom, boom. All right. So now, I got side 1 on. Let's spin around. Point side 2. Actually, so this needs to come through that side wall. But I think before I do that, no, can I do this first? Actually, I can put this back on. You can see this did not need to come off. So only the 2 bottom ones are all that has to come off on this. This will be a lot easier if it just stays bolted. Oh, I said that has really long bolts on top, didn't it? Yeah, weird. There's 2 long ones right there. So let's oh, look at that. Bottom ones. Flap. Here we go. On. All right. On. And 2. Sometimes things just do not like to line up. There we are. Get in there, you little rat. Alright. Okay. Good enough for the moment. So now, before I put this on, I need this to come through. So there's a couple ways to do this. One, we're just going to slowly pull this all the way out. And here's what we're going to do. I'll just put kind of a knot here. Grab a scrunch. There we go. Now that's not going to be sucked back in. And so, that nice knot I tied, we need to untie said knot. Get out of there, you little rat. Okay. 1 and 2. There we go. Now, this can go through here, then through the handle. Now we go back to that double knot. 1 and 2. There it is. So, that, and then we have this little fancy cap. And cool. There we go. Yeah. Then sometimes you're just a dumbass. Because tied a knot on the other side for that scrunch, that's not going to work. That's going to work temporarily. So, this little sucker needs to come back off. Jesus. Well, this time it doesn't want to come off. Alright. You ever do some part of a job 3 times? So we're going to see, that's going to be the 3rd time I'll tie this knot in there. Okay. So the brilliant idea of making a knot here is just not a brilliant idea because we can't have a knot. No way to untie it once the handle's on through the whole loop. So, undo that. Now no more knot. Now we're just going to do something called not let go. I can wrap it on my hand. Put that through. Last time we're going to tie this sucker. 1 and 2. There it is. And it goes. 1 and snap in there. Aha! Now we almost have a generator. So before I put this side on, let's pull this out and drop this down. Now I need to get my fuel tank back in. And that goes to right there's the fuel shut off. Actually, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to go dump this tank because this is going to go everywhere if I don't. Alright, so I put the tank back on and drained it out, and then I had to stop and run to town. I needed to get some other stuff, but these long bolts that go through the top of this panel, they're held on by nuts on the back side, and that's what fell off and rolled away. And of course I don't have any 5mm nuts, so I had to make a little run to town. So that's alright, I got gas now too. I was out of gas for running things. So these, on this panel, the only thing you actually have to take out are these bottom 2 bolts. I wouldn't take off any of the screws here because all they do is hold this panel in place. And so that's one of those mistakes that you don't make when you're familiar with the machines, but I've actually worked on very few of these Generacs, and they're put together a little bit different than the Hondas. Those I used to work on all the time. I don't a whole lot anymore. Just depends. When I was at Honda shops, that's what you did. Now, I don't get a whole lot of them. But I became a Generac dealer a few years ago because Costco started selling pressure washers and stuff. And it's brought me a lot of work. But I'm not overly impressed. Their warranty system is weird as hell. And their machines are pretty much just Chinese imports. So it's yeah, I mean they're okay, but the example I have on these inverters on the Honda, like the EU 2000s, I've never seen a bad generator or a bad inverter. And one of the reps told me that some people have claimed and tried to warranty, but they've never actually tested one that was bad. And I mean, I agree from what I saw. I never saw it. My first year doing Generac, I saw 6 bad inverters. And like I said, Generac wants more money for an inverter than they do for an entire machine. So I can't say I'm a huge fan. Alright, now the fun part. Plastic. I hate plastic crap. But, plastic crap, let's see. Back and forth as to which side these are on. So, we're going to squeeze this together and put a couple of bolts in the handle. There we go. Now I see if everything starts to line up. Yeah, plastic crap. And another one over here. You gotta kind of look at which side the threads are on, because they go back and forth on either side, it looks like. Yeah. Now, I also have all the same length. Okay. So, now this is the easier part, just a bunch of screwing. Suppose I could get my little impact driver out and do this faster, but whatever. Now if we remember this, and an E-clip right there underneath here, and this is the fun part where you get all this plastic crap that just never wants to quite snap back how it goes, but yeah, gotta go back. So there we go. E-clip to snap on. That's there, that's there. It's there. Let's see, did I don't think I did. Did I do this one yet? Nope. And another screw here. Oh, I already did. Alright. And then we got, let's use this. Let's see, all the bottom ones are there, bottom ones are there. Got a couple bottoms to put on this side. That one's in. Okay, now front and back covers. There we go. pretty easy. Tabs go in. Okay, bottom tab in first. There we go. Now it's starting to look like a generator again. This is an odd industry. I was having a conversation with a log splitter company the other day, and he said it's just like farming. The average age of a farmer or a person running a small engine shop 15 years ago is now 15 years older, meaning that there's just not new shops starting up. All the old shops are not selling, they're closing. So it's a weird time in this industry. In my area, I'm now almost the only shop left, and I mean, there used to be lots. Okay, that's on, that's on. Let's come to the front. Same thing here. So when you do this, don't take these 4 screws out. Not needed. Just, and that's also what I had to run to, town for. Now, as always, getting plastic tabs to go in little slots on your little rat bastard is not always the easiest thing. There it goes, 1, 2 on the top. Well, sort of. God, I really don't like how these suitcases go back together. You know what we're going to do? We'll make this easy. So I don't know if you can see, but sometimes you got to be careful of where oil runs when you do this. But sometimes you just got to flip the damn thing up, make it so you can work on it. So, balls, right there. So, top tab, get in there, you cocksucker. Alright. Now, let's see, I got that side lined up. Let's start that one. Now, would also help if I was trying to put the right bolt in. That one doesn't go there. Hey, look, one that actually fits. All right. Well, sort of. God. Ugh. Keeps popping out of these tabs. This whole thing is supposed to lock together, just not quite like that. Every time about clicks in, top pops out. That is just a crappy ass design. Crappy design. In the hole. Down. And out she goes. You're a balls. Alright, I didn't record the last 5 minutes of me fighting to get this cover to go on, and it just screws that go on the bottom. So basically, the last thing I'm down to here is this should lock into place, and once it does, I should be able to, there it is, screw it in. And with the fuel on, now all I got left, there we go, starter rope on an inverter in 87 easy steps.